YTPC, Curmudgeon Piper here, taking a afternoon break from work to sit out and have a pipe and chat with you folks for a bit. Having some coffee and smoking my Dr. Graybo Omega. It's a good pipe. I've had it for a while. I enjoy it. It's a good smoker. Also have Peterson Reserve 2013, which is an aromatic. It's fruity and floral and smells good and all that stuff. I started out with aromatics when I started smoking years ago, and so I'm branching out now, trying light English and English blends and that kind of thing. Don't have a whole lot of stock. I'm working on that too. So I'm working on acquiring some new blends, hopefully over the next few weeks or so. But it's not bad. I would say if you don't care for aromatics, you won't care for this one. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about how I got into pipe smoking. I think I alluded to it a little bit in my introductory video the other day, but when I was in my late teens, I was in college, probably 19. This was around 91, somewhere in 91 or so. I'd really gotten into literature. I have my background's in science, but I really enjoyed good literature, and particularly at that time it was Mark Twain. I had read his book Following the Equator, and of course he was a big cigar smoker and a pipe smoker, and so I became fascinated with smoking cigars. And so at a family reunion in the summer of '91, we were down in Charleston, South Carolina, and myself and a couple of my cousins, one was over 21, one was younger than I was at the time, decided we would enjoy our Saturday night after our reunion banquet. And the older cousin, who was over 21, went and bought a fifth of Captain Morgan Spice rum, and we bought a box of Hava Tampa cigars. We thought we were high class with those Hava Tampa cigars and that bottle of rum. We had a great uncle who was a cigar smoker, and that's all he ever smoked was Hava Tampas. So that's what we went looking for. Kind of a tribute to him, because I believe, if I recall, he was there and at the reunion. He was up in years at that time, now since passed, but we went and got Hava Tampa cigars as a tribute to him. So anyway, we finished off the cigars, finished off the fifth of rum, set the smoke alarms off in the hallway at the hotel, and paid for it all the next morning. Couldn't eat breakfast. We had to travel that Sunday, back from Charleston up to here, back up to North Carolina. And I spent the majority of the ride laying on my back in the back seat of the vehicle, hoping that I wasn't going to lose whatever food had been there. So it's surprising that I continued with cigars even after that night, because the next morning wasn't pretty. But I was a kid. You do what you do when you're a kid. I continued with cigar smoking. I did elevate to better quality cigars. I enjoyed Macanudos and H. Upmans, and my favorite became Henry Clay's. They were my favorite. I used to get those as gifts, boxes of those as gifts for birthdays and holidays, things like that. My wife and I got married in the year 2000, and I was still smoking cigars at that time. Of course, didn't smoke in the house because the smell, couldn't stand it. But she and I were talking, and we both remembered that her dad and my stepdad were both pipe smokers, and they smoked a cherry blend. So she said, if I get you a pipe, will you try a cherry blend? And I said, well, sure. So she bought a pipe, and I found a cherry blend at a tinderbox called Cherry Almond, which is very sweet, sweeter than the Peterson Reserve here. And she loved it, and so I began smoking a pipe, and she would let me smoke in the house, and that was around 2008, 2009, somewhere in that area. We bought a house and moved up to where we live now. Not in the same house anymore, but met my neighbor across the street by smoking a pipe. A pipe is great for enhancing, I said this in a Twitter response this morning. A pipe is fantastic for enhancing not only friendships, but it enhances solitude as well. Sometimes there's nothing like just sitting out here, reading a book, drinking coffee, having a glass of bourbon, having a glass of whatever you enjoy, a glass of wine, smoking a pipe. It's relaxing. It's enjoyable. It helps you think. It helps clear your head if you've had a stressful day. So I still smoke. I love smoking a pipe. As I said, I met one of my best friends who lived across the street from us at that time. That's how we spent the majority of our time together, was smoking. He introduced me to a lot of... I didn't know what a tamper was. I never used a tamper until I met him, believe it or not. So I'm trying to get away from strictly aromatics. Don't have a big stock of tobaccos at this time. I'm working on trying to acquire different blends, light English blends, that kind of thing. Taking it slow. That's the best way to do it. So that's a little bit of how I came into smoking a pipe. My wife, unfortunately, at this time has some health issues, so I don't smoke inside anymore because, out of respect for her, I certainly do not want to add any more detriment to her health. So I don't smoke inside anymore. I have my little back, what I call a lanai, which is not basically a porch, but I love it, and so that's it. I hope you folks have a great day, and keep your pipes lit, enjoy yourselves, and stay off my lawn.